Ever just stop and think about how much of our everyday language isn't really literal? I mean, we put words together and suddenly they mean something. Well, something totally different. It's like there's this hidden code, a shared understanding we all just sort of pick up. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. Idioms and expressions, our mission. Not just definitions, but really getting under the skin of these phrases. Where do they come from? Why do we use them? You'll see how understanding them is kind of a shortcut to sounding more natural and really getting what people mean.
Yeah, it's a great topic. Because these phrases, they seem simple, right? But they're actually fundamental. They're not just little quirks of English. They're tied into how we connect, how we share quite complex ideas, actually very efficiently. They carry history, culture, all packed into just a few words. It's key for real cultural fluency.
Absolutely. And for our exploration today, we're drawing on insights from sources looking at idioms and expressions in real life. We're also thinking about how these things play out practically, like you might see discussed in resources like English Episode 60 on the Learn and Success YouTube channel. This deep dive is all about seeing these linguistic nuggets in action, in real conversations, not just on a list somewhere. Okay, so let's start with the basics, maybe. What is an idiom, really, beyond just the meaning isn't obvious? I think it's more like it's a meaning that we've all sort of agreed on culturally, often based on some old metaphor, a story we've forgotten. It assumes you're in the know. And once you get that, yeah, you really do see them everywhere.
That's a great way to put it. And what's really fascinating, I think, is that they're not just decorative. They're incredibly efficient. Think about it. How much time would it take to explain the whole feeling of awkwardness at the start of a party every single time? Instead, you just use an idiom. Boom! Condenses the whole situation, the feeling, the shared experience into one little package. When you use one, you're tapping into this whole shared pool of history, humor, maybe even a bit of wisdom. It shows how language works, practically getting maximum meaning with minimum words.
That idea of linguistic economy, yeah, that really clicks. You're not just saying words, you're activating shared cultural stuff. And our first idiom today is a perfect example, one we hear all the time. Break the ice. Ooh, if you heard that with no context, you might literally picture, what, a hammer, a frozen lake. But the real meaning and where it comes from, that's much richer.
It really is.
Yeah.
So break the ice, it means, starting a conversation, getting over that initial maybe awkwardness or formality, making people feel a bit more relaxed. But the phrase itself, it goes way back, much further than modern parties. Its origins are actually quite literal, from the days of sailing ships and maritime travel. When harbors froze in winter, you needed stronger ships, sometimes special ones, to literally break through the ice. They'd clear a path so other ships could follow, so trade and, communication could keep going.
Wow. Okay. So it's literally about clearing a path for connection. That's brilliant. And it makes so much sense why we call certain actions icebreakers now. Like you're at that work meeting, everyone's a bit quiet, or a party where nobody knows each other, and someone tells a funny little story or asks a really easy question anyone can answer. They're not just chatting. They're creating that path, clearing the way, just like those old ships.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the sort of bigger human picture, this phrase taps into something universal, that desire we all have to connect, to make social situations, less uncomfortable. Every culture has ways to start interaction, even if they use different words or actions. But using a phrase like break the ice instantly signals what you're trying to do. You want to create a more open vibe. It's a social cue. It shows you get the unwritten rules, and that itself helps build rapport subtly. It kind of says, without saying it, hey, let's make this easier for everyone.
It's amazing, isn't it, how much meaning is packed in there? Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Another idiom, this one with really striking imagery. Once in a blue moon. That one always feels a bit magical to me, something rare, special.
It does, and that imagery is key. Once in a blue moon just means something that happens very, very rarely. Infrequently. But the origin is fascinating. It does link to astronomy, but maybe not how most people think. A blue moon isn't actually blue. It refers to the second full moon that happens within the same calendar month, which happens roughly every 2 or 3 years, because our months and the moon cycles don't perfectly align. So while it's not literally blue, it is an infrequent, noticeable event. And that rarity is why it became shorthand for anything that hardly ever happens.
Ah, okay. So it's about the timing being unusual, not the moon looking blue. That adds a whole new layer.
Mhm.
Suddenly, it's not just poetry, it's grounded in a real, if uncommon, natural event. So when we say we see that cousin who lives overseas once in a blue moon, or talk about a total eclipse happening nearby, we're not just saying rarely, we're invoking that specific sort of astronomical rarity.
Precisely. And this brings up an important point, doesn't it?
Hmm.
How does that vivid picture, even if it's based on a slight misunderstanding, make the idiom so effective, so
Yeah.
memorable? Well, our brains love images, stories. Saying once in a blue moon paints a picture. That striking mental image tied to something real, even if rare, makes the idea of infrequency stick much better than just saying seldom. It shows how language grabs onto these compelling pictures to explain abstract concepts, making them instantly relatable.
Hmm. It really makes you appreciate the hidden layers in everyday talk. So, stepping back, what does all this mean for us as people communicating, listening, just trying to understand each other? Why do these non literal phrases stick around? Why are they valuable?
Well, they're definitely more than just interesting quirks. If we pull it all together, idioms are absolutely vital for communication that's nuanced, colorful, and, again, efficient. They aren't just decoration. They're fundamental for packing complex ideas tightly and showing you're, well, culturally tuned in. I mean, imagine trying to explain the whole breaking the ice dynamic every single time, or the astronomical basis for rarity. It'd be clumsy. Idioms let us transmit layers of meaning, feeling, shared history without spelling it all out. They really are like little time capsules of language holding bits of culture and history. Understanding them is a shortcut to getting the deeper picture. It's like looking into a culture's shared mind.
Linguistic time capsules, I like that. And for you listening, getting a handle on these idioms really does boost your own communication. It helps you catch those subtle meanings, whether you're in a new social setting, reading something complex, or even watching media like, say, the Learn and Success channel. You don't just understand the words, you understand the weight behind them, the shared context. It's like unlocking a deeper channel of communication. So today we unpacked Break the Ice, saw its ship-based origins and how it helps us connect. And we looked at Once in a Blue Moon, found its astronomical roots, and how it paints a picture of rarity. Just two examples, drawing from ideas around idioms and expressions in real life, showing how these phrases make language richer and our understanding deeper.
And maybe here's a final thought for you to sort of mull over. If idioms are these linguistic time capsules, what does the fact they persist tell us? They reflect things we all experience, needing connection, needing to talk about rarity, needing to be concise, but they also carry the unique fingerprints of a language's history and culture. So as you go about your week, maybe try to actively listen. What other phrases do you use without thinking that might have a hidden story? What does the way you use idioms say about your connections, your culture, and the history embedded right there in how you talk?
That's a great challenge. Yeah, listen out for them this week. You might be surprised how many pop up. And now, maybe, you'll hear them a little differently, thinking about their hidden depths. And if you do want to dig deeper into these kinds of linguistic shortcuts and how they work in the real world, you could explore resources focusing on idioms and expressions in real life. Things like the Learn and Success YouTube channel, maybe check out their English episode 60, could offer more insights. There's a whole world of meaning awaiting there.